Good morning and good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Maysa, and I'm one of the co-founders of Doctors Against Genocide. It is my absolute honor to moderate today's press conference. As always, we center the voices of our people in Palestine. Today marks a threshold humanity should never have crossed. 1,000 days of genocide and siege in Gaza, and over 100 years of dispossession before that for the Palestinian people. 1,000 days witnessed in real time by the entire world. No one can claim they did not know. The evidence has been documented, independently verified, and broadcast in real time for 1,000 days. This is not a failure of information. It is a failure of political will. The United Nations Independent International Commission of Inquiry has now concluded that some of the gravest international crimes have been committed, including findings relating to genocidal acts against Palestinian children. The question before the world is no longer what is happening. The question is why governments continue to tolerate it. So we will not stand here and explain the crisis again to a world that has already seen and a world that already knows. We will name what this silence has built, a world we do not want to leave to our children, a world where water is cut off from the thirsty, where hospitals go dark, where starvation is used as a weapon, where a child's death is met with a statement or a shrug. Let me tell you what 1,000 days means on the ground. All of Gaza is unsafe. When someone is wounded, first responders cannot get or reach them. And when they finally can, they cannot treat them. And when the dead are recovered, they can no longer be identified. Most often, it is because the entire family is lying together beneath the rubble. The world does not need more evidence. It needs governments willing to enforce the law they helped write. Here's how today will run. You will hear from representatives across every vital sector in Palestine. Each will speak for roughly 3 minutes, sharing the status of their sector on the ground and the demands that follow from it. We will hold questions for Q&A at the end. To the media present, thank you for being here and thank you for carrying this forward. One note before we begin, connectivity in Gaza is unpredictable, itself another act of siege and genocide. If a speaker drops, please bear with us. We will hold and we will bring them back. So we will begin with a physician who has spent decades caring for his people while bearing witness to their suffering, Dr. Mustafa Barghouti, co-founder and president of the Palestinian Medical Relief Society, a physician and one of Palestine's most enduring and brave voices, joining us from the West Bank to set out the political reality across all of Palestine. Dr. Barghouti, the floor is yours. Tfaddal.
Dr. Mustafa, you're muted.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm glad we have all our colleagues from Gaza here participating with us. After 1,000 days of genocide, I want to emphasize that the genocide is still going on. Since the ceasefire was declared, Israel violated it without any response from the Palestinian side 3,500 times. They already killed 1,060 more people, mostly civilians, mostly children and women. They all injured 3,400 more people. The devastation is beyond description. As you will hear, 90% of Gaza is destroyed. The total number of people killed or injured so far is 250,000. That is 12.5% of the population. Apply that number to the United States of America, and you will be talking about no less than 36 million people killed or injured. And you can imagine what the United States would have done if 1 million Americans were injured or killed. 223,000 tons of explosives thrown on Gaza. That is equal to 14 nuclear heads, similar to what was used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But also in the West Bank, we are subjected now to constant attacks by settler terrorist groups 15 attacks every day on different cities and villages. Israel has created already in the West Bank more than 500 settlements and settlement outposts. They've already confiscated or dominated more than 58% of the land. Not only 65% in Gaza, but also 58% in the West Bank. 1,300 military checkpoints, 250 military gates transformed the communities in the West Bank into little prisons. And the killing of civilians, especially children, goes on also in the West Bank. What we see here is a board of peace, but no peace. A board of peace that has no real plan for peace. And the most shocking thing was today declared by the so-called board of peace that they want to eliminate UNRWA presence in Gaza. UNRWA that is serving the 70% of the population who are refugees displaced since 1948. In summary, what we face here is the same settler colonial project that started 120 years ago in Palestine. What we face here is a consistent effort. The Israeli goal never changed since the beginning of the genocide. Consistent effort to repeat 1948 displacement and ethnic cleansing. The main goal is to try to ethnically cleanse the population of Gaza and the population of the West Bank. And they are trying everything, including weaponizing criminal gangs that are collaborating with the Israeli side. The world up till now, after 1,000 days of the genocide, did not hold Israel accountable. And because of that, the crimes continue and the crimes are increasing. And that's why the outcry here to the whole world, and I hope journalists will hear that, is where is international law? Where is international humanitarian law? Where are the United Nations institutions? What we face here in Palestine is a challenge to the whole humanity, to every people in this world. But I want to tell you, that will not break us as much as it did not break these heroic people that you see today from Gaza. The people of Gaza has given the whole world a fantastic example of how heroic people can be in defending their rights. We are steadfast and we have hope. We will not leave Gaza. We will not leave West Bank. And I always tell other people what gives me hope is the fact that although we lost maybe almost 22,000 children in Gaza killed by the genocide, the people of Gaza managed, and the health workers in Gaza managed to save the lives of 82,000 newborn children. That gives us hope because these are not only newborn children, these are the sign of the resistance of the Palestinian people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Barghouti. That reality is, of course, measured first in human bodies. Dr. Ahmed Shatat, Director General of International Cooperation and Planning, joins us today from Gaza to share with us an update on health systems pushed past collapse. Dr. Shatat, thank you so much for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I want to start at the point which finishing Dr. Mustafa that we will stay in our Palestine. Let me to start my talk that my father and I am now in Gaza in Deir al-Balah, but my father and mother was born in Ashkelon, which is far from the Gaza city, 15 kilometers, and located in the occupied territory. Let me to talk about the situation and healthcare system in Gaza now. After 1,000 days of genocide, the situation is unfortunately still very bad and worse. In spite of the ceasefire is happening, unfortunately, ceasefire, it is only superficial, and the targeting of the people and targeting of the civilian is continuous. Daily we are receiving more than 15 dead bodies and killed, and more than 15 are injured. The situation regarding of the continuous of targeting, siege, and rejection to enter anything inside of Gaza. Unfortunately, Israel, they are transfer of Gaza city to be as the biggest prison for civilian population in the world. The biggest prison that you couldn't enter or exit from this Gaza only with permission. So that regarding of that, the limited number of the patient which need to transfer out Gaza due to unavailability of the service is huge. We are talking more than 20,000 of patients. They are asking for the service which is not available in Gaza. Increasing of the siege, increasing of destruction, and availability of the service, lost more of our services, including of our facilities. We lost more than 70% of our bed capacity inside of our hospitals. And you can imagine how we can provide and ensure of the service for our population so that the number for the population which they are needed for transfer is huge. Unfortunately, the story not stopped here. All of the health determinants is distracted, including of the water, the food, displacement, household in the tents. 70% of population is still in the tents. Between the rates, between the insects, the increasing distribution of the infectious diseases, this is increased the burden of the diseases on our healthcare, which is most of our health facility is distracted. The situation, unfortunately, after ceasefire, it's still worsening due to none allowed to enter of the basic things for the health, like drugs, disposable, generator for electricity. You know that Gaza, until now, we haven't station of electricity. Our hospital dependent of generators. You can imagine in which city in any world that generators, which is dependent the hospital for this electric generator, they didn't find oil for this generator because the occupation didn't allow this oil lubricant oil for generators to enter in Gaza. You can imagine the situation regarding of the basic equipment, medical equipment. Until now, Israel didn't allow enter any of this equipment. We lost more than 17 CT machine, and now we are only providing of this service for 3x3 machine. Until now, most of X-rays machine, unfortunately, Israel, they didn't allow to enter any X-ray machine. You can imagine the situation regarding of this situation, and in this condition and continuous of Israel that didn't allow to enter anything to rehab or to expand or to restart any service, only most of our service inside of Gaza. Unfortunately, we are providing in the non-permanent structure and by field structure and some of rehabilitated structure inside of it. Still, unfortunately, now our capacity in the healthcare less than 60% in the level primary healthcare and in the level bed capacity. What's meaning that? We have a big challenge to continue providing safe practice and safe health for our population. Why? Because all of the world are witnessed the criminal regarding of the population, civilian population inside of Gaza from the occupation side. So that I think that continuous after 1,000 of genocide, of 1,000 days of genocide, continue this suffering, I think that this is inhumanity and unaccepted in this world. And thank you very much from Gaza and from our population here.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Shatat, for this very important and comprehensive update. But of course, we know that not every wound of this genocide can be seen. Dr. Abdullah Al-Jamal, a psychiatric consultant at the General Directorate of Mental Health Services in the Gaza Strip, joins us to speak to what 1,000 days of unrelenting terror have done to the minds of Gaza's children, a trauma with no post because it has not stopped. Dr. Al-Jamal, tfaddal. Thank you.
Thank you a lot for this meeting. I have to speak about this one in Gaza. Really, prior to the war, we have provided our services through 6 community mental health centers and 1 psychiatric hospital. We used to follow up about 25,000 patients per year in this community mental health centers, and about 700 patients were admitted yearly to the psychiatric hospital. During this war, all these centers has been destroyed completely. Till now, we don't have psychiatric hospital, so I don't know where these patients need psychiatric inpatient unit, where they go. We started our job in 3 small community mental health centers. In 2025, we follow about 70,000 patients in this community mental health centers. So each physician, each psychiatrist here should meet at least 50 patients, 50 cases per day, and this is a huge number to meet as a psychiatrist. Even during this war, my staff also is suffering. Most of them lost at least 1 or 2 or more from their lovers, and even a lot of them lives in tents, and they still struggling to provide support for others. One day I sent a case. She was a female, 32 years old, in severe depression and PTSD signs and symptoms, to one of my psychologists. She told me, "Dr. Abdullah, do you forget that I lost my son? Why you send me this case that lost her son like me? I can't tolerate." So this is the situation here in Gaza. One time I used to assist with a team more than 6,000 cases of orphan children. More than 1/3 of these orphan children really have signs and symptoms of stress and behavioral changes. They need intervention. They need psychosocial support, but unfortunately, we don't have enough team to deal with. So it is the genocide. We don't know how to deal with this situation. We need a lot of support to help the mental health system in Gaza, especially to establish a psychiatric inpatient unit and to train or to provide some sort of psychological support for these cases, especially child cases. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Dr. Al-Jamal. Of course, ending the genocide would really be the first priority and the first course of action, of course. Beneath every crisis, as you know, there has been many underlying reasons and deliberate causes, one of the very brutal and insidious reasons for this genocide is the denial of water. Dr. Munir al-Bursh, head of the water and environmental sector, he's joining us today from Gaza, and he's going to talk to us about how water was turned into a weapon. Dr. al-Bursh will speak in Arabic, and I will share his speaking notes on the screen in English. Thank you so much, Dr. al-Bursh. تفضل شرفتنا.
شكرا لك، شكرا للجميع. أنا بشكر الاستضافة. 1000 يوم يعني مروا علينا من العذاب والإبادة والفقد والنزوح. 1000 يوم يعني من الجوع والعطش والخوف. 1000 يوم يعني لم يكن مجرد رقم، بل كان 1000 صفحة من الألم والعذاب والحكايات التي لم تكتب. القطاع المياه والصرف الصحي في قطاع غزة يعني بيعاني أشد المعاناة من الانهيار. هناك 3 مصادر رئيسية للمياه في غزة. هناك أبار للمياه الجوفية. بيعمل في غزة الآن ما يقارب 200 بئر. انخفض الإنتاج من 250 ألف متر مكعب إلى 70 ألف متر مكعب. وهذا الأمر خطير جدا. أكثر من 90% من المياه الجوفية غير مطابقة لمعايير الشرب. بسبب الملوحة والتلوث. أيضا هناك مصدر آخر هو محطات التحلية. محطات التحلية بتنتج 30 ألف متر مكعب. إجمالي الإنتاج اليومي ما يقارب 140 ألف متر مكعب. الشبكة تضررت حوالي 70%. لا يصل للمواطن في هذه اللحظات إلا 26 لتر مياه، منها 6 لترات صالحة للشرب، وهو أقل بكثير من الحد الأدنى للاحتياجات. هذا بالنسبة للمياه. أيضا هناك واقع لخدمات الصرف الصحي. تم تدمير أكثر من 80% من مرافق الصرف الصحي. هناك أيضا إنتاج ل80 ألف متر مكعب من مياه الصرف الصحي، هذه تجمع وتضخ. الكميات المتبقية تتسرب إلى التربة والخزان الجوفي، وهذا يزيد من مخاطر تلوث المياه وانتشار الأمراض. وهناك أيضا أزمة الطاقة كما تعلمون، وكما تحدث الإخوة دكتور أحمد شتات عن وجود أزمة كبيرة في الطاقة، لأنه أكثر من 90% من مرافق المياه والصحي ومحطات التحلية بتشتغل على الديزل. استمرار منع دخول الوقود والزيوت وقطع الغيار أصبح يعني الأمر موقف. وقف هذه المولدات. يعني للمعلومة اليوم نتحدث عن لتر الزيت الواحد يساوي $1000. هناك أيضا هذه الأزمة المفتعلة من قبل الجانب الاحتلال الإسرائيلي، الذي يتأثر بها القطاع الصحي وأيضا قطاع المياه بالدرجة الأولى. التداعيات المتوقعة النقص الحاد في المياه الشرب، وخاصة نحن في شهر الصيف. انخفاض المياه المخصصة للنظافة والطهي والاستخدامات المنزلية. أيضا هناك مهدد حقيقي وهو ارتفاع معدلات الأمراض المرتبطة بالمياه. أيضا تلوث التربة والخزان الجوفي وتفاقم التلوث البيئي. هناك تدهور حقيقي للأوضاع الإنسانية. مطلوب يعني بشكل عاجل إدخال الوقود والزيوت وقطع الغيار. مطلوب أيضا توفير كميات مستدامة من الوقود والمولدات، وتمويل مشاريع محطات التحلية. توفير المواد الكيميائية اللازمة لمحطات التحلية ليستطيع تأهيل الآبار ومحطات الضخ والصرف الصحي. أيضا عندما نعلم أن الاحتلال يمنع دخول مادة الكلور ومواد التعقيم، وهي المادة الأساسية في عملية التعقيم. استمرار إغلاق المعابر ومنع المستلزمات وتشغيل قطاع المياه والصرف الصحي يهدد انهيار أحد أهم القطاعات الحيوية المرتبطة بحياة أكثر من 2 مليون إنسان. نحن كما ندعو دائما نطالب المجتمع الدولي والأمم المتحدة والمؤسسات الإنسانية الجهات المانحة إلى التدخل العاجل، إلى إدخال الوقود ومواد التشغيل والمعدات اللازمة، وتمويل إعادة تأهيل البنية التحتية للمياه بما يضمن استمرار الخدمات الأساسية ويحمي الصحة العامة. شكرا لكم. بارك الله فيكم والسلام عليكم.
muted يا ميساء muted.
Thank you so much for this very important and critical update, especially cruel in the middle of summer. The temperature rising, and to do this in the middle of summer is just beyond cruel. When the water fails, of course, that means that the hospitals also fail. Childhood itself is taken. Hani Abdelhadi joins us today on the destruction and shares with us on the destruction of Gaza's schools and the theft of a generation's education. Hani Abdelhadi, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, hello everybody. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Okay. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, respected colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thanks for giving me this chance to speak about a subject that is very close to my heart, which is the reality of education during the war and the enormous challenging facing our students, teachers, and educational institutions. My name is Hani, and I am an English language teacher from Gaza. Marking 1,000 days of war, 1,000 days of sirens, non-stop killing, of loss, of waiting for 3 consecutive years, we have lived under ongoing genocide. What we are living through is not just a conflict, it is the systematic destruction of life, of futures, of childhood itself. Today, I speak for my students, the ones who should be in my classroom but aren't. Education in Gaza is collapsing. Over 80% of our schools have been damaged and completely destroyed. The few buildings still standing are not schools anymore. They are shelters. They are crowded with displaced families who have nowhere else to go. A child walks past a chalkboard now and sees mattresses, not lessons. We are denying an entire generation the right to learn. Think of children with disabilities. Before the war, school was already a challenge for them. But now, assistive devices are gone. Specialists have fled or been killed. Wheelchairs cannot navigate the rubble. Deaf children cannot see a teacher's hands in an overcrowded tent. These children are being left in silence, twice isolated. The first one by their disability, and the second one by the destruction around them. And think of the rest, children who survived bombings but lost limbs, children with the trauma so deep they can't speak, children who should be learning to read out instead are learning to identify the sound of a drone. We ask, what happens to a society when its children do not learn? That's a very important question. We gotta ask ourselves this question. What will happen to us if we don't teach our children and if they don't learn? Without education, we lose more than subjects like grammar and Arabic and science and math. We lose hope, which is something bigger than this. We lose engineers who rebuild. We lose doctors who heal. We lose teachers who teach the next generation. We lose the chance for peace because peace is built in the classrooms, not in the rubble. I'm a teacher, but today I really cannot teach. My school is gone. It is destroyed. My students are scattered. Some are dead. The ones who remain are hungry, grieving, and waiting. They are still children, and children need books. They need safety. They need a desk. They need a pencil. They need a future. We are not asking for a charity. We are demanding the right to education stated in every human rights convention. Now that is being buried under the debris of our schools. So I ask you again, but before I ask this question, let me just brief you some statistical numbers about the educational sector here in Gaza Strip. 637,475 school children without sustained access to formal in-person education. 127,500 KG children without access to early childhood education, and 93% of our school buildings, 526 out of 564, will require full reconstruction of major rehabilitation to be functional again. As of 11 October 2025, 63 university buildings destroyed. So let me go back to my question. Ask you, don't look away, please. This is just a question. Don't look away. Rebuild our schools, protect them. Make sure education is not a casualty of war. Because when you save a child's education, you save a life twice. Once today and once for every tomorrow that child will rebuild. The children of Gaza cannot wait. They have already lost 3 years. Please do not let them lose their future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hani. Perhaps the most cruel objective of genocide is to kill the future. So we must all stand against this. And of course, behind every number is a family fighting to survive, a child looking forward to going to school. Rula Abeid, an engineer and director of the association and local community department, joins us today to speak on the collapse of social life, families, women, the elderly, and persons with disability. Rula, thank you so much for joining us. Please go ahead. تفضل.
Thank you for you. Today, I'm not here to speak only about numbers. I'm here to speak about families, about mothers who cannot feed their children, about old people who have lost their homes, about persons with disability who can no longer reach basic service, about the children who have lost everything. After 1,000 days of war, Gaza is facing the worst social protection serious in its history. More than 1.1 million people have been displaced. Around 1.1 million people are living in overcrowded shelter without the minimum condition for dignified life. More than 64,000 children have lost one or both parents. More than 47,000 women have become widows. Thousands of people are now living with permanent disability. These are not just statistics. These are human lives. These are families trying to survive every single day. The Ministry of Social Development is working under impossible conditions. The needs are growing every day, while humanitarian access is restricted and essential assistance cannot reach many of the people who need it most. Without social protection, families cannot recover. Without protection, children lose their future. Without support of women, all persons and persons with disability communities cannot survive. Okay, I think this is why we call on the international community to act now. We urgently demand an immediate and unconditional ceasefire, open all crossing without delay, ensure safe and unrestricted humanitarian access, support social protection program for orphans, widows, persons with disability, older persons, and the most vulnerable families. Humanitarian aid must be reached people based in need with dignity, fairness, and transparency. I will end with one message. Protect civilians, restore Gaza social protection systems, because saving life is not political choice, it's a human responsibility. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rula. And of course, we know that this attack on life has been very systemic. The very systems that are meant to support humanity and life has been attacked. So we know that those systems that hold the city together, they're under siege. And that's why Dr. Mohammed Hanoush, Director of the International Cooperation Unit, joins us today to talk to us on municipalities and local governance. Dr. Hanoush, welcome. تفضل.
Unmute Dr. Hanoush, please. الميكروفون مش شغال. Yes, تفضل. هيك تمام.
Good evening. I speak today on behalf of Gaza's municipalities, the institutions responsible for keeping cities alive. 1,000 days, municipalities have continued working under impossible conditions. We are expected to provide clean water, collect solid waste, operate sewage systems, repair roads, respond to emergencies, and support more than 2 million people, while most of the infrastructure required to deliver these services has been destroyed or is no longer functioning. Larger sections of water and wastewater networks have been destroyed. Roads have been severely damaged. Municipal workshops, warehouses, heavy equipment, and maintenance facilities have been hit. Many service vehicles and machinery have been destroyed or are out of service because spare parts are unavailable. Even where infrastructure still exists, municipalities often cannot operate it. Water wells, sewage pumping stations, desalination plants, and solid waste services depend on generators, fuel, pumps, electrical equipment, and mechanical spare parts that are either unavailable or prohibited from entering Gaza. Today, even maintaining a single municipal generator has become nearly impossible. Before the war, 1 liter of engine oil cost around $10. Today, it costs nearly $700 or maybe higher. And the price continues to rise. Because of this, the generators that operate Gaza's water wells are failing one after another. If this continues, tens of thousands of people could lose access to safe water simply because municipalities are denied the basic supplies needed to keep these systems running. Municipal engineers and technicians have the knowledge and experience to restore essential services. What we lack are the materials and equipment necessary to do our jobs. Behind every damaged road and every broken water pipe stands a municipal worker who refused to abandon his duty. 72 employees of Gaza municipality have lost their lives while serving their community during this war. We honor their sacrifice by continuing the work they gave their lives for. We did not stop serving our people, and we will not stop until Gaza's essential services are restored. Today, Gaza's municipalities urgently need heavy machinery and municipal vehicles, generators and pumps, electrical equipment and spare parts. We need pipes, valves, fittings, asphalt, cement, steel, and other construction materials for water and sanitation and roads and public infrastructure. We need fuel and operational supplies to keep essential municipal services functioning. Municipal services are not a luxury. Without functioning municipalities, there is no safe water, no sanitation, no waste collection, no passable roads, and no foundation for humanitarian recovery or public health. Our message to the international community is simple. Allow the immediate and unrestricted entry of construction materials, municipal equipment, machinery, generators, spare parts, and all supplies required to restore essential public services. Supporting municipalities means protecting public health, preserving human dignity, and creating conditions for Gaza's recovery. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hanoush. As we're hearing, sector after sector, department after department have been attacked systemically, and we honor all our martyred heroes and first responders and healthcare workers. So thank you so much for this update. Of course, when infrastructure fails, emergency responders hold the line, often with their own lives, as we've seen, systemically attacked and killed. Rami Zuhair Amir Hajjo, from the Palestine Red Crescent Society, joins us today to discuss the emergency medical response under fire and how it was able to maintain their excellent support to our communities. Mr. Hajjo, tfaddal.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, tomorrow marks 1,000 days since the beginning of the war in Gaza. For many people around the world, this may be simply a number. For us, it represents 1,000 days of continuous emergency response, immense loss, and unwavering commitment to the saving lives under some of the most difficult conditions imaginable. Since the beginning of the war, the Palestine Red Crescent Society has remained on the front lines, providing emergency medical services and humanitarian assistance despite unprecedented challenges. The human cost has been devastating. We lost 56 colleagues, 26 of them whom were killed while carrying out their humanitarian duty. 8 of them were killed in a very blatant, harsh attack in Rafah. In addition, 39 Palestine Red Crescent staff members were detained during the conflict. While most have since been released, 3 remain in detention. Additionally, a total of 27 Palestine Red Crescent facilities have been destroyed or rendered out of service. These facilities include PRCS branches in the northern Gaza, in Rafah City, Al-Quds Hospital in Gaza, Al-Amal and Khan Yunis, as well as 21 primary healthcare clinics all over the Gaza Strip, and 1 central ambulance building that serves all the dispatch units. Over the past 1,000 days, the Palestine Red Crescent Society's facilities served tens of injuries on a daily basis. At the same time, our ambulances and emergency medical teams have responded to thousands who were killed or injured, and more than 200,000 people who at emergencies. We have also evacuated thousands of injured and critically ill patients on a daily basis during the 1,000 days. The greatest challenge was absence of safety and hope. The people of Gaza need far more than humanitarian assistance alone. They need protection, safe access to healthcare, food, clean water, shelter, and opportunity to rebuild their lives with dignity. Our commitment remains unchanged. We will continue doing everything within our capacity to save lives and alleviate the sufferings. Yet, PRCS calls for immediate and urgent action to lift restrictions on critical material required for humanitarian response, ensure the effective protection for medical and relief teams and for the health humanitarian facilities, ensure respect, protection, and support for the vital central role of PRCS in delivering the services without obstacles. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Hajro. Beside them are the first responders. Those are the ones who are digging through rubble with almost nothing left. And on top of that, they're systemically attacked. So we're honored to have Ismail Mattar with us, Director of International Cooperation, to discuss with us the situation of the first responders and civil defense. Mr. Mattar, تفضل. شكرا. تفضل.
Hello, everyone. I want to say that it's a true honor to be here with you, with my colleagues in Gaza Strip. And thank you to give a voice for those whose only job is to save lives here in Gaza after 1,000 days of genocidal war. I want to say that this genocidal war, our crews paid a heavy price in these days. So this genocidal war killed 145 of civil defense personnel and injured 347 of them, leaving many of them with permanent disabilities. I want to talk about systematic targeting. As we know in Rafah accident, or when our crews were work there and they were targeted and killed. And there is 90% of our centers on the fields in Gaza were destroyed completely. As we know that aid workers must have full immunity due to international laws, this immunity were killed due to violations of Israeli army. The genocidal war aimed just to collapse the entire humanitarian response system. So this genocidal war doesn't or didn't end until now. There is a lot of bodies under rubble until now, and our crews work on recovering them. As you know, in Gaza, and my colleagues said, there is lack of equipment and tools that helps us to finish our mission, and there is lack and shortage of fuel to generate our vehicles and machines. So our crews work with the bare hands, with no tools and equipment help them. In this war, we received about 200,000 of distress calls, and we just responded for 50% of them due to the challenges we face. I want to mention that 39 of vehicles were completely destroyed, so we can't use them until now. And 45 vehicles of them needs continuous maintenance due to lack of spare parts. And despite all the challenges, our crews refuse to stop and they complete their mission to save lives and digging through rubble with bare hands, as I mentioned. I want to say that this situation is unsustainable and protecting aid workers must be an obligation. It's necessary and it's not a choice. The international community must end this culture of impunity. So those who are responsible of war crimes must be accountable. I want just to call for immediate international intervention to end this blockade and allow the entry of fuel and the equipment to allow us to finish our work. And I want to say finally that we have a project now working for recover all bodies under rubble. It depends on 100 of civil defense men or personnel, and it will continue to 6 months in the future. Just we say that this civil defense in Gaza will continue humanitarian mission against all the challenges, as our colleagues mentioned before. And please help us to end this genocidal war. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, and I couldn't agree more. And it's impossible to listen to all of this and not feel a deep sense of rage and shame from being part of this world community that is doing absolutely nothing. Thank you so much. And as the bombs fall, of course, and you know that hunger is spreading and aid is held at the gates. Iyad Amawi is here from the Gaza Relief Committee, is joining us to talk about the humanitarian access under siege. So wrapping it all up, including starvation, water scarcity, the barriers of relief, the resilience of the communities holding one another, and the hidden plan to expel the people from their land. Iyad, it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Allah barik fikum. Distinguished colleagues, I'm speaking to you from Gaza, not as observer, but as a witness. 1,000 days have passed. 1,000 days of killing, brutality, displacement, hunger, repeated evacuations, orders, and systematic destruction of the conditions necessary for human life. Gaza is not only being bombed, as we talked before, Gaza is being made unlivable. Homes, hospitals, schools, universities, water networks, sanitation systems, and sources of livelihood have been devastated. The institutions that once sustained civilian life are being systematically weakened or completely destroyed. For more than 2 million people here in Gaza, humanitarian access have been reduced to a single, solely, severely restricted gateway, where humanitarian missions are repeatedly delayed or denied or obstructed completely, including those carrying medical teams, medical missions, water and life-saving supplies. More than 3,000 children remain missing under the rubble or jailed, and beyond those missing, entire generations are being lost. Trauma, displacement, interrupted. So when we talk, we mentioned about the restrictions of aid, starvation as a weapon under the siege, and also forced expulsion. Today, civilians are being pushed into an increasingly shrinking space to roughly 30% of whole of the Gaza space. At the same time, the language surrounding displacement is changing completely. Terms such as freedom of movement can't hide the reality. Now that when people are deprived of food, water, healthcare, safety, and livelihoods, departure is not a free choice. It's expulsion process under siege. The weakening of institutions such UNRWA adds another alarming situation and dimension. Beyond the humanitarian assistance, these institutions preserve our roots and our historical memories, legal continuity, and the identity of the generations of the Palestinian refugees. What we are witnessing, therefore, is not only the destruction of infrastructure, it's an assault on the foundations of life, society, and historical continuity itself. Yet Gaza continues to resist through humanity. Families share the little what they have. So the message is simple. Open all the crossings, implement the ceasefire, not selective firing, implement the ceasefire completely with the guarantees unrestricted humanitarian access, ensuring the sustained entry of food, water, medicines, and everything for resuming our normal life. Protect civilians, humanitarian workers, and the institutions that serve them. Also reject any policy or practice that leads to the forced displacement of Palestinians or the erosion of their historical and humanitarian institutions. After 1,000 days, history will judge not only what happened in Gaza, but also what the world chose to protect and what it allowed to disappear. Thank you again for hosting me and hosting my colleagues, and keep going. We need your support to stop this brutality and genocide. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayad. Finally, among our sector voices, a witness from outside of Palestine who has seen with his own eyes the brutality and the crimes. Dr. Nick Maynard, consultant surgeon at Oxford University Hospital, has operated inside Gaza's hospitals and is going to be speaking to us about his eyewitness accounts. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Maynard.
Thank you very much indeed. It is, for me, profoundly humbling speaking on this platform with so many heroic and inspirational Palestinians. So thank you for asking me. It has been one of the great privileges of my life to work with my Gazan colleagues in Al-Aqsa and Nasser hospitals on several trips to Gaza over the last 1,000 days, on a background of many years of visiting Gaza, over 17 years. I have witnessed with my own eyes war crimes on a daily basis, a genocide being carried out by Israel, and this has not been reported by our Western media. And I have spent as much time as possible providing my eyewitness accounts to everyone back here so they know what is truly going on in Gaza. I have witnessed with my own eyes the deliberate targeting of civilians in Gaza. We have described in the British Medical Journal a pattern of injuries never previously seen in civilian populations, a pattern of injuries only previously described in war combatants. We know that more than 20,000 children have been killed, more than 40,000 orphaned. An average of 30 children per day have been killed in Gaza, 30 children per day over 1,000 days. The equivalent number in Ukraine is 0.7. I have seen with my own eyes the deliberate targeting of hospitals, the killing of nearly 2,000 healthcare workers, the abduction, illegal detention, torturing and killing of 450 healthcare workers. I have personally operated on many children at my last trip at Nasser Medical Complex, on children shot deliberately by Israeli soldiers at the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation food distribution sites. I have witnessed with my colleagues there the targeting of particular body parts on particular days. I have seen also the appalling effects of malnutrition, how children have been unable to recover from their injuries and their surgery because of their malnutrition, how they have died unnecessarily because we had no nutritional support to give them. I've seen the absence of formula feed, babies dying of starvation because the Israeli blockade would not allow the formula feed to come in. These are preventable deaths. They are due to the deliberate blockade by Israeli. I have presented this evidence on multiple occasions to the UK government, to our Prime Minister, to cabinet ministers, to the US Biden administration. They have not acted, and they have been complicit in this genocide. My message today is that our governments must act now to protect civilians and to end preventable deaths. The UK government must stop their reconnaissance flights over Gaza, their provision of arms to the Israeli government. Trade, they must impose sanctions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for this powerful testimony. and we appreciate you being with us today. You know, in the DAG world, we never stick to the hour, so we appreciate that everybody's been here with us, and we of course are so grateful for all the voices from Gaza. You have all provided us with such important and powerful testimony, and most importantly, the demands from the international community that we will honor and we will push forward, and that's a promise to all of you from us at DAG. So for this next part, we're going to move to Q&A, and please stay with us. We will probably spend a few, probably another 30 minutes doing Q&A, and then we will close with the other co-founders, Karama and Nidal, and we will close this press conference. So the first question is from Samira Muhyiddin from On the Line Media. Her question to Dr. Shatat: what communicable diseases or illnesses are they seeing the most of right now in Gaza? Dr. Shatat, please, if you can answer this question.
Yes, thank you very much again. I think that, you know, that regarding of the related of the infected wood and water and food, most now we are facing with most of the disease distributed of gastroenteritis, including of the blood diarrhea and high fever. This is related of suspected of bacterial infections, and also cases due to hepatitis, viral hepatitis A. It is increased. Regarding of skin disease in Batago, now it is increasing. And also, let me to inform the prevalence, the incidence of scabies is increased among the population due to lack of water, lack of personal hygiene, the environment of the tents, and the hot weather. I think that this is most of the skin of diseases, and also now distributed some of viruses like food and hand disease among of children's. Regarding of the rates, and you know that under rubble now it is multiplying thousands, many thousands of rates, big rates and small rates, and you can imagine the situation. All of the tents now, this is the rates living with the population like part of this family, unfortunately, and you can imagine the situation and which diseases are transmitted. We treated many cases, 100 cases from rat bites. I think that this is the most of the distributed disease. Yeah.
Just one phrase from my side. Actually, the most important one, which is due to the decrease in the vaccination coverage, it was in Gaza 96%. Now it's less than 80%. And unfortunately, we start to discover some poliomyelitis cases during this genocide. Fortunately, there was an urgent campaign to contain this infection, but we don't know because of the lacking of the vaccination coverage. Maybe we can discover more cases, but poliomyelitis was again one of the most important communicable diseases, plus the waterborne diseases and the other diseases which was mentioned by the Prophet.
Thank you very much. This next question is about what are the medical devices lacking that require requiring medical evacuations. So maybe Dr. Shatat as well, or...
Okay, again, you mean of evacuation of the patient out of Gaza, yeah?
That's correct.
Yeah, you know that unfortunately, most of the devices related of advanced surgery, it is not available. Let me inform also as example, any breast cancer woman, this is woman need for final diagnosis, some of radiological investigation, some of receptor for histopathology, it is not available. So that we, unfortunately, our surgeon decided to select radical surgery in any case of cancer, breast cancer. Before the war, we didn't like this approach, and we went to, according to Palestinian protocol, with the minimal surgery. But unlucky woman, our woman now, due to lack of the investigation, we are going for radical mastectomy or radical surgery. You can imagine of that. So that, what about radiotherapy? What about more diagnosis, MRI? What about availability of drugs? It is not available, so that the number is increased. For example, about catheterization for our young person, we have only limited access for catheterization. We only did 500 catheterization last year out of 6,000 which we need. You can imagine about, this is example about availability of the resources for the service, so that the number of the patients which they are needed for go out of Gaza seeking for the service out of Gaza is increased. Now it is reaching more about 20,000 patients they are waiting. And you heard about last year, WHO announced that more than 1,500 of these patients are died during they are waiting to travel. Now, which number are traveling is through the border, through Rafah border? It is very limited, daily, not daily, day by day. Day by day, it is less than day after day, less than 20 only patients are able to transfer. And some days, unfortunately, they couldn't pass through this border. So that you can imagine the number is very limited, unfortunately, and our patient is increasing suffering, and they are waiting their fate, or they are waiting to die peacefully inside of Gaza.
Dr. Ahmed, just to mention, in the MRI, previously we were holding 7 MRI machines. Now we have even no 1 MRI machine, 0 MRI machine in Gaza Strip. Out of the cardiac catheterization machine, we were handling 7. Now we are just working in 1 old machine and 1 old machine for the cardiac catheterization.
And with non-availability of a stent for catheterization, unfortunately.
It's compounded harm for sure. So there's a question from Samira actually that I just saw. Is there any work underway to do a full population count of Gaza right now? Maybe this question is for Rula, and if anybody else wants to jump in, maybe Dr. Youssef can guide us as well.
What was the question? Sorry.
The question is there any work underway to do a full population count of Gaza right now? I mean, I can imagine with the displacement, it's almost impossible, but maybe there's a plan.
Yeah, we hear that there's an effort to do that, but actually it's so complex, so complex. I think the context here in Gaza is not in favor, and it will not make it easy to have a such counting the people in this circumstances. So I don't think so. I think it's so important to handle, but it's so complex and difficult to start.
Absolutely. Okay. This next question is from ST Chandler, KPFK's Middle East in Focus. The question is there any or a particular report that DAG recommends concerned citizens in the US share with our elected representatives as we urge them to stop funding the genocide? Of course, we will default to our DAG days on the Hill and where we produce the leave behinds, but I'll ask Nidal and Karama to answer this question as well.
Karama, are you there? So yes, we do prepare monthly reports that we share with our elected officials in DC and locally. Please join our group, join our Sunday meetings, and we have a group dedicated for this called the Advocacy Group to DC. We are happy to share with you on monthly basis or sometimes on weekly basis the current demands that we as doctors, healthcare community demand for our elected officials to put an end to this genocide and to put an end to the United States complicity and full partnership in this genocide. Thank you for the question. Karama?
Good, thank you. Yeah. So the next question is, of course, what adds complexity to medical care is that the healthcare workers themselves suffer deeply. Some of them suffered injuries or been arrested. Some of them lost family members. And of course, almost all of them have been displaced. So how do you manage such a challenge? And this actually reminds me of the work that we're doing with our teams in Gaza and the poem by Mahmoud Darwish. Maybe Dr. Yusuf Abu Rish can share that with us, just the principle of resilience and how does it work in the midst of this genocide.
Sometimes you have no other choices actually about of being so to do so hard and to continue working even if the situation is so difficult and so complex. Actually, this is our land and those are our people and we have to do our best and we have no other choices. So it's like that. It's simple like yeah.
What was that poem? It's you have no, you don't have the luxury.
Even if you being so fragile, you have no opportunity or the choice to lean down, even because there's others who are depending on you.
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah.
You don't have the luxury to be weak because there are so many others who are leaning on you standing up. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
On this earth, what is worth living?
Yes,
Yeah.
on this earth is something worth living, of course. Of course.
I think this has become a little questionable now.
Yeah, I use the words of our colleague who were killed, Dr. Hammam Allah. He was asked that question, and why you didn't decide to leave. He said that I'm not learning medicine for more than 15 years just to lift our patients alone and to lift them behind. This is my mission, and that's why I learned medicine.
Palestinians are human beings, they are patients, they deserve the right to care and to health care. And I did not go to school for 14 or 15 years to leave my patients alone. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Allah yarhamak, Dr.
Allah
Hammam.
yarhamu, and he was killed not alone. He is with a dozen of people in the same occasion.
في مقولة لمحمود درويش: إذا إن سألوك عن غزة فقل لهم بها شهيد يسعفه شهيد ويصوره شهيد ويودعه شهيد ويصلي عليه شهيد. ترجموها من عندكم.
أنا attempt that, or unless Nidal, you want to do that? Mahmoud Darwish.
Let's finish with the question because actually we need to do a couple of more things, please.
Okay,
If
no
you don't
problem.
mind, we'll come back to this. Why do you have two screens, Maisa? Why you're special? You're signed
because my laptop is about to die and I didn't want to everybody off. Not because I'm special. Okay, so there is a question about the rodents. Saw a photo of a child's face that clearly had signs of cellulitis, cellulitis and rat bites.
Cellulitis.
Can somebody speak in an insect situation?
Yeah. I think that this I can answer. Yeah, I think that this is related of the situation, nutritional situation of the population. You can hear me?
We could hear you, not anymore.
Dr. Rahman?
Yeah, actually it's a multifactorial. It's not only the bite of the rodents. Again, the immunity of the children themselves, there's a problem. And to care about the wound, there's a problem. How can you care about the wound in such circumstances while you are living in a tent without even the very essential needs? Even just to the hygiene kits and the others are not available. So it's multifactorial. The presence of the rodents itself is there, but the immunity, unfortunately, is very minimal and declined a lot and to make care for the wounds, there is another problem. And to be able to buy some of the antibiotics, there is no money to do that. And even it's not available in the public hospitals and the center and the primary healthcare center. So again, it's multifactorial.
As with everything else, of course, in Gaza. The next question is from Isra Ziada, doctor in the UK. For our Gaza colleagues, we are aware that the World Central Kitchen and the World Food Programme have been closing essential community kitchens, and that the last year, the Ministry of Health projected that an unprecedented 132,000 children under 5 will be in severe acute malnutrition by June 2026. What is the current picture you are seeing in healthcare with regards to malnutrition and these projections? Who wants to?
Okay.
Dr. Ahmed?
Yeah.
I'll give just two figures and let Dr. Ahmed to answer. When we are comparing the figures according to the OCHA report, the last OCHA report, which was recording the number of the cases who are suffering from malnutrition, and comparing April with March. In March, the total number of the children under 5 years who were diagnosed like malnourished cases, it was 3,600. In April, it was 4,800. In March, the total number of the cases which was diagnosed like acute severe malnutrition, it was 300 cases. In April, it was 600 cases. So it's getting worse and worse. Dr. Ahmed. I don't know if Dr. Ahmed is here or not, but the vast majority of the people, they are relying and depending on those centers, the food distribution centers. So if for a reason or another, those centers will be stopped, I can tell you there will be a catastrophe, real catastrophe, because no one in Gaza, or the vast majority even, it's more than 85% of the people, they are depending on those centers which are distributing the food. If those centers will be stopped, there will be a real problem and catastrophe.
Yeah, I can endorse this, Dr. Youssef. At PRCS, as you all know, you may know that we also do relief, and we have food parcel distributions. So in fact, for the last 6 months, at least I would tell you that we have not received any. However, we have at our warehouses in the West Bank, we couldn't succeed in coordinating for any of the kits that are lying down there on the West Bank warehouses. We succeeded only in the last February for passing some medications. And later we succeeded hardly succeeded in the first batch of passing some wash hygiene kits, but after that, no food at all since the last month. So I can endorse these very well, because it seems it's a very systematic approach to weaken the growth and to really threaten this has complication also on the health sector, to weaken the health sector, as we have seen with the GRM, the American points, the مراكز التوزيع الأمريكية, the continuous shooting that was there. I mean, that was very intense. We have been serving hundreds of traumas every day in our hospitals. I mean, that was very, very consuming to the consumables at our warehouses. We have done replication for more than 3 times in 2 months for the full warehouses. And we have taken aid from WHO. So this seems really systematic. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
According to the number, again, from the OCHA, depending on the nutrition cluster, they are mentioning that 65% of the surveyed household in Gaza and North Gaza Governorate, and 70% of the surveyed households in Deir el-Balah and Khan Younis Governorate relied on humanitarian aid as the primary source of food.
There's a question about the lifelong trauma, specifically for children who have lived through this, and what they will carry with them, and the broader ramifications of that trauma for years to come. Maybe Dr. Al-Jamal can answer that question. I think we touched on it briefly, but if you can expand on that.
Of course, it's very difficult to expect the prognosis of the long-term prognosis of chronic trauma in children, and I hope that it will not leave a huge scars on these children. Especially the situation now is the continuous trauma, and even it's not only the continuous trauma, but also that they cannot find good psychosocial support to relieve the signs and symptoms of this psychological, this continuous trauma. So it's very difficult to predict the prognosis now, and I hope it will not be so worse in the long term.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jamal. There's a few legal questions that I'm not going to answer, or I'm not going to read, simply because we don't have a legal team on this press conference. Somebody was asking, though, if they can get involved in education in Gaza from abroad, what kind of support they can offer from abroad to the education sector in Gaza.
Yes, I can answer that.
Please, go ahead.
Hello,
Please
can you
go
hear
on.
me?
Yes.
Well, thanks for asking this important question. Even under these severe conditions, education remains a powerful tool of resilience, and there are very practical ways you can support from abroad. One of the most direct ways is through remote engagement, volunteering to run virtual conversational English sessions or mentorship programs whenever students can get online. You can also help by developing low bandwidth material learning, like lesson plans or reading exercises that educators here can easily download and share. I mean, online. Beyond academics, supporting psychological resilience is critical. Getting involved with initiatives that fund or organize structured group activities like student parliaments and leadership workshops gives young people a much needed sense of a community and hope. Finally, advocating within your own local institutions to partner with educators on the ground can help secure the resources and remote chances and opportunities to our students desperately need right now. So eventually, engaging in the process of education from outside plays a very important and vital role, especially nowadays, because nowadays we lack electricity, we don't have a stable internet connection, and I demand for a very strong internet connection, because nowadays, you know, that distance learning, it is one of the most important things that we have to provide for our students. As a teacher who works at the Ministry of Education here in Gaza Strip, I really demand this.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. There's been a few questions and requests for information on how to get involved, how to help, whether financially or through joining, you know, advocacy efforts. And I just dropped the link to join Doctors Against Genocide. We have a monthly advocacy day, but we also have regular advocacy campaigns and things that you can get involved in. We also have community supports programs that you can actually support through financial contribution. And obviously children is one of the key priorities for us. Which leads me to the other question, is that there's a question about what should be prioritized. Of course, food, water, shelter, etc. You know, you can pretty much go through the Maslow hierarchy of needs and everything, you know, you'll hit all of the levels. But maybe I'll ask this question to Dr. Abarish and Dr. Ahmed. They can give us an idea of what should be prioritized, whether it's in advocacy or funding, or where do we start, right? Like, we've learned about systemic destruction and collapse, but what do we do and how do we prioritize and strategize our efforts?
Dr. Ahmed.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that it is important now to start first to protect of health facility and to protect human resources. and the right to access of the many thousand patients to receive of their service out of Gaza. Second, advocacy regarding of the entry of the and improve supply regarding of drugs, disposable infrastructure materials, rehabilitation like cement, like oil for lubricant oil for generators. Regarding of disposables, to entry of these disposable to provide of many surgery to prevent of complication and to prevent evacuation of this patient out of Gaza. We didn't like our patient to go out of Gaza, but unfortunately this is not our choice because you know that due to unavailability of the service. Another point regarding of the surveillance of the disease and infectious disease, I think that is important and to protect our population from different infectious disease, including of the viral and epidemics. Also, it is important to talking about the expand of capacity our service in the level of primary health care and in the level of the hospital, and focusing on the services which our people still they are dying from lack of these services, like catheterization, like oncology patient, like hemodialysis, like many NCDs, like neonatal services, children. I think that it is important also, and this is top priority. I think that this is the main issue must are focusing when we are talking about the our healthcare system. We are talking about resuscitation of healthcare system. We are talking about the providing of essential and life-saving of service for our population. We not talking about the rebuilding of healthcare system. Still, our healthcare in the resuscitation stage, and still our people are dying, and most of our indicators of mortality indicators is increased regarding of before the war, and it is doubling or tripling or 4 times than before of the war. This is, I think that this is the main objective we are focusing.
Yeah, I think the most important point is to end the occupation, because after the occupation is ended, everything will be resolved directly. So first of all, to end the occupation. Number two, to provide security and safety if the occupation will be there, and to open the borders, and to provide an essential package of services, which include the health services, the education, the food, the water, the sanitation, and the sewage system, and all the other
advice.
Yeah. Sorry for so that's it. Yeah.
Dr. Hanush or Mr. Hanush, did you want to add something?
Yes. For municipalities, if you ask how you can help, the answer is simple. Help keep essential services running. Support the operation of water wells, wastewater pumping stations, solid waste collection, roads opening, and emergency municipal services. Your support can provide fuel, generators, spare parts, pumps, municipal vehicles, and heavy machinery, construction materials that allow us to continue delivering life-saving services. Every functioning well means clean water for thousands of families. Every repaired sewage station prevents disease. Every operating municipal vehicle helps keeps our city alive. Supporting municipalities is one of the most and fastest effective ways to protect public health, preserve human dignity, and save lives in Gaza. This is for municipalities at least. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Definitely, there's no end of things that are needed and things that we can do. And very important to remember that people with the privilege who live, outside of a genocide area, they have an agency, they have the power to do something. And for that, I will move to my colleagues, Dr. Nidal Jabour and Karama, to talk to us a little bit about how folks can get involved, how they can move beyond apathy into action. And because a lot of the questions are around what can we do, where can we get involved? And I think it's important to kind of frame the ending with like practical things that we can do. So I'll ask Dr. Jabour and Dr. Karama to close for us. But before I do, I wanted to thank all of our speakers today for the incredible and powerful, testimonies, for your powerful words, for your clarity, and for the essence of what we learned about Gaza over the last 1,000 days is that resilience, that power that comes from having the moral courage and the dedication to humanity. We learn from you. We're inspired by you. Thank you so much for all your hard work. And Nidal and Karama, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa. Thank you for the great work you did today. Karama, go ahead. Karama.
Yeah, thank you for our colleagues in Gaza. Above everything, you have been so, we're so proud of you. You carry truth with dignity and pride. And it is on us to keep advocating for our human rights as Palestinians, especially Palestinian children. It is the lack of the respect for the human rights is a health risk for every one of us. And we do not accept that. It is not our destiny. Our destiny is to live in pride with our heads up. So I am very grateful, and I thank everyone who joined us today in the webinar. We had over 380 people join us at times, and sometimes it reached to 400. And we thank you for your dedication, your attention. We will have the recording of this press conference on our YouTube. So it is recorded and it's available for the media outlets to share. We urge the media people to take this to heart. This is a call to action in this genocide once and for all. Thank you. Please, Nidal.
Yeah, thank you, Karama. Again, I want to thank our colleague from Gaza. You have been the best voice for your people. You spoke your truth very clearly. You lived this. You are the actual witness, and you are the best ones to speak on behalf of your own people. We are really proud of you. Your message was loud and clear. We really thank our audience and anyone who joined. We thank everyone, every human being, good conscience all over the world who has been supporting Palestine and has been doing everything and sacrificing to be on the side of justice and truth. We want you to know that the Palestinian people see you, they hear you, they appreciate you, and they will never forget. We also want to invite all of you that most of our speakers of today are going to be joining us on Sunday webinar, where we have 2-3 hours of webinar, and each one of them will have a more thorough presentation of the sector and the field that they represent. So for more questions or more detailed info, please join us this Sunday for the webinar, and each one of our colleagues will have this full presentation. Today, since it's a press conference, we had to make it clear and brief. What the world has done to Gaza and what the world allowed to happen to Gaza should make the world go silent forever. But for now, in honor of our colleagues in Gaza and the people who died, we can just do a 1 minute of silence to the colleagues, the children, the mothers, the fathers, the grandparents, the systems that we all allowed to be destroyed. Please have a moment of silence, and please read Al-Fatiha, because most of the victims in Gaza are Muslims, and because we are the one who allowed their murder and destruction. The least you can do, wherever you are, is to learn Al-Fatiha and read it next time we do a moment of silence for Gaza. Please, a moment of silence for the victims and the martyrs of this genocide. And to reiterate for the final time, today marks a threshold humanity should never have crossed. 1,000 days of genocide and siege. For 1,000 days, the world have witnessed not only destruction of human life, but the systematic destruction of the conditions of life itself. Water, food, healthcare, education, shelter, dignity, and hope. Today, you did not hear statistics. You heard witnesses. Physicians struggling to save children without water or medicine. Mental health professionals describing a generation traumatized by war. Humanitarian workers, educators, engineers, municipal leaders, first responders, refusing to abandon life while the foundation of life are being destroyed around them. Their testimony leaves us and leave the world with one question: what will we do? The evidence is overwhelming. The law is clear. The obligation is immediate. Human rights are universal. International law exists to protect the vulnerable, not merely to record their destruction after the fact. If it fails after 1,000 days, in full view of humanity, it fails us all. Responsibility must be named. Israel bears responsibility for carrying out a genocide. The United States has enabled them through sustained military, financial, and diplomatic support. Every government, every institution that continues to enable and shield these crimes must also answer to history and to international law. As physicians, we must also acknowledge the profound failure within our own profession. The American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Psychiatric Association, the Association of Medical Colleges, and too many medical institutions abandoned their ethical responsibilities when they remained silent while hospitals were destroyed, healthcare workers were killed, and children were deprived of the essentials of life. Medicine cannot defend humanity selectively. Medical ethics are universal, or they are nothing. Our demands are simple. End the siege immediately. Open every crossing. Protect every child, every healthcare worker, every civilian. Guarantee immediate and unrestricted humanitarian access. The survival of victims must never depend on the permission of the perpetrator. The international community must protect civilians, not negotiate their survival with those harming them. Rebuild Gaza with the people of Gaza leading their own recovery, reconstruction, and future. Ensure accountability for every perpetrator and every enabler, because this is not only about Gaza. It is about whether international law still protects the vulnerable or merely records their destruction. It is about the world we leave to our children. Let the history record that after 1,000 days, humanity did more than bear witness. humanity chose to defend life, to end the impunity. Not another child, not another hospital, not another day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This concludes segment, and just for everyone who's been listening, thank you so much for joining us today. The replay will be available on the YouTube channel for Doctors Against Genocide. And as I mentioned, please follow Doctors Against Genocide and join our movement. And as we always say, liberation is the best medicine. So thank you so much. Free Palestine. And we will be back on Sunday, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day. Free Palestine. Thank you. Thank you.
Palestine, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
الله يعطيكم العافية.
God
السلام
save
عليكم.
you. Goodbye.
يعطيكم العافية. Bye. See you inshallah.
forever.
Talk together. Can we
Thank
talk
you for
together here?